We are live. This is Travis from Tradewithtravis. Hopefully, everybody's doing very well on this Tuesday evening. Hopefully, everybody end up having a good trading day overall, and hopefully, overall, everybody's just doing very well. It's been a long day. I've been up literally since I want to say 3:30 this morning, and this is the first time I've literally been able to kind of sit down. Even though I consider this to be fun, but I still kind of consider this to be work at the same time. So I am kind of enjoying or kind of waiting until I can be able to clock out. If that makes sense. Block, what's going on with you? Hope everything's going well with you. Hopefully you end up having a green day. Talk to me. How was your day overall? Everybody else that's inside of the chat, talk to me. How was your day overall? Let's make this 25 to 30 minutes seem like it was nothing. Let's make this 25 to 30 minutes. Hopefully y'all end up having good green days overall. Let's go ahead and go through the disclaimer, get that out the way, and then after that we'll go ahead and go. Everything's going well, man. Can't complain. Either way, if I did, nobody really cares. So it's one of those things that you got to keep on pushing. Let's see. It was a nice green day. There we go. That's what I like to hear. Not a good green day. It was a nice green day. Well, not even a green day. It was a nice green day. There we go. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So with that being said, I'm going to show myself onto the screen. It would be nice if I share my screen one more time. There we go. I'm going to show myself onto the screen. What's going on, everybody? Good morning to everybody. Good afternoon to everybody. Good evening to everybody. Jeez, we'll go with all three of them. Hope everybody's doing very well. Trading day ended up going pretty smooth today. Ended up having a pretty big pop when it came down to NAS 100. I know I talked about it in the morning time, and we ended up going from there. I didn't send a Discord alert. Yes, I know. I got caught trying to put my kids to bed, and trying to put everything else like that done. Speaking of that, while I'm saying that, I ended up doing I ended up starting a new series on YouTube where I end up going over and talking about and being able to review some of the MQL5 reviews and what MQL5 expert advisors, and it's called Expert Advisor Reviews. So our first video is going to end up being placed out tomorrow, I believe at 8 o'clock. And that's going to end up being on the Waka Waka EA. So I'm super excited to be able to talk about that. I'm super excited to be able to post that out. So for the people that are on the red brand, y'all end up seeing that in the morning. But that EA is pretty cool. A block. I think that you'll really like that one just overall. Even though I know you don't trade crypto. I mean, not crypto, but Forex. It's a mean revergent EA, which basically ends up looking at Bollinger Bands and everything else like that, allowing the market to be able to get to like its extreme weakness, and then after that trying to scalp and trying to make it back while the market is kind of making a little bit of a U-turn. So you know how I end up trading from, if we say ABCD type of movements, typically when I end up saying that I don't like trading B to C, that is a system that trades B to C all of the time, right? That retracement to extension before that retracement phase, not the C to D extension phase. It likes being able to trade that. But yeah, I obviously that ended up being sent out to where people can be able to see that a little bit. Well, it's already posted, so it's already scheduled, so people will be able to see it overall. All right, so let's talk about what happened from an economic calendar standpoint. I'm going to kind of blow through this pretty quickly today. We end up having GDP from the Eurozone. It actually ended up being neutral, which was a good thing. The Eurozone actually ended up having a big pop up, and the United States dollar actually ended up having a big move to the downside, at least early throughout the sessions, right around that 8:30 to about 11:30 time, based off of PPI being down and based off of Eurozone actually end up going up. That also ended up affecting what happened with the Japanese yen pairs. The Japanese yen pairs ended up having strong movement when it came down to that overall. So was kind of excited to be able to see that movement actually end up playing out to be a little bit more favorable overall when it came down to movement. Um, Canadian yen. Okay, so Canadian yen took profit. The only thing that I'm worried about right now is what's happening with US yen. Um, but yeah, overall, market ended up doing its thing when it came down to that movement. Now, going into tomorrow, we end up talking about this at the beginning of the week. Tomorrow's going to end up being a pretty big day, which means to me that overall, I think going into tonight, we're probably not going to see much of anything when it comes down to movement. So I'm going to kind of flow through and just kind of talk about everything from a game plan perspective and kind of get prepared for what's going to end up happening in the morning. CPIs are going to end up happening from the pound. We're going to end up having retail sales for the United States dollar. We're going to end up having CPI from Canada. And then after that, we're going to end up having unemployment change and unemployment rate from Australia. So all of those, every country pretty much is going to end up having their own kind of spectrum on what's happening with the market. We just have to be able to adjust and react based off of the news that's going to end up being given to us. So as we go through and take a look at what's happening with the big three, obviously, you know, the big three is United States dollar index. Take a look at gold. You end up taking a look at oil. Reason why we do those is because that obviously they have correlations with the U.S. based pairs, the Canadian based pairs when it comes down to oil, and then after that, Japanese based pairs when it comes down to gold. So we talked about last week, or we talked about earlier this week that we expected that the market was going to end up having some type of retracement. And that has still remained to be at this particular point. Market ended up hitting the 2 hour D extension, started to retrace from there. It went all the way down to 12,970, which was the number that we was actually expecting that the market would go to. I don't think it touched. I don't think it hit 970. It hit 975. Go figure. So it went 95% of the way that we thought it was going to end up going. Since then, the market has started to retrace. The market has already went past 382, so the market is considered to be healthy when it comes down to retracements. Now the question is how far or how long it's going to end up basically moving when it comes down to that spot. Is it going to fall into the sweet spot when it comes down to movement based off of retail sales tomorrow, or is it going to end up basically having a quicker U-turn? So this is the area where I think the market could possibly be able to go up to 13,120, or I will be interested if the market goes up to 13,120 before being able to make a move. I don't think that it will break above the A, but obviously we have to be able to pay attention to that overall and kind of get a better idea about what's happening with the market for what's that movement as it's kind of making its way. Okay, so United States dollar index, not doing anything until early in the morning, but we do have a game plan about what's going to happen. U.S. oil was in consolidation. It remained to be in consolidation. This is very quick. Oil not doing anything with until I end up seeing what happens with PPI tomorrow. You could be able to place in your pending orders at 82.40, at 82.50 and at 93.60 respectively, but I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to do that until the morning time and see how the market's going to end up reacting. I don't want to get placed in until I truly know how the market's going to end up moving. So oil not going to do anything with gold. Gold, we wanted to be able to get out at 1,800. We were looking at trying to see if the market will end up giving us a breakout and a retest. The breakout and the retest end up happening. The market did break up to the upside, but once again, because we have high impact news that's going to end up happening tomorrow, the market quickly started to settle and started to go inside of consolidation. So even if you did take that trade, hopefully you end up taking that trade, getting in and getting out when the market end up getting up to 1785. If you're not in, I would kind of stay away from that overall group. But maybe we had to just go to auto pose menu events. We do. We already have that. You take a look at, hold on. If you go to economic news, it's there. But I have another way of being able to make that work as well. Because and maybe I probably might need to filter out some of that stuff, but it already does that. Um, Brian, are you here? I see that he's online. I don't know. I don't know if he's here yet. Brian, are you here? And typically he ends up placing a comment. But either way, um, Brian, even if you're not here, good to talk to you. Hopefully everything's going well with you. Hopefully you had a good Green Day. Oh, there he is. There we go. What's going on, Brian? Green Day, Green Day, Red Day, or stay away. Let's see. Was it a Green Day, Red Day, or did you stay away? There we go. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right. So that's it. Let's go ahead and go through the pairs that we end up taking trades on, or trades that end up happening a little bit earlier. I did not post the one on. Well, I talked about it, but I did not give a trade ID on US yen. So I'm not going to end up taking. I'm not going to end up taking full credit on this one. The Skywalker EA actually ended up taking this one. We talked about the counter trend line break that could potentially end up happening. But I'm glad that the market did kind of make that move. We were talking about what 137.40 was one of those areas to be able to get out. But let's go through this real quick. From a daily perspective. Oh, okay, I remember. Okay, so what ended up happening was this: market ended up breaking right around 148. Remember, we took that trade from 148 to 141.70. So took profit off of that one. From there, I ended up saying that I did expect that the market was going to end up having a little bit of a U-turn, or the market had to have a little bit of a U-turn, but it actually ended up breaking the inner trend line, and because it broke the inner trend line, it was going to gravitate toward the outer trend line. That's exactly what ended up happening earlier this morning when we ended up having bad PPI news. Based off of the bad PPI news, market ended up falling all the way down to basically the fell all the way down to the 127. And because we only had a retracement to the 23.6, that allowed the 80-20 rule to be in effect, and that's the reason why you see a lot of people starting to be able to buy it up right there. That is a tried and true rule that I learned a lot of stuff from MTI. But that's one of the things that I keep on remembering from MTI more than anything else. The market only goes 23%, then 80% of the time it's going to end up rejecting off of the 127. And like clockwork, it just never fails. That's the reason why we talked about how US yen was going to end up falling the first time based off of the daily. Take a look at it. Take a look at it based off of the daily and how it ended up popping up to the upside. Did I get rid of them fibs? Yes, it did. Let's see. The daily or the weekly? End up making that move. Oh, it's a weekly. So you take a look at the weekly. They end up happening right before the market ended up making its movement. It hit the B, only retraced down to the 23.6, got all the way up to the 127, and then after that started rejecting right off. Then from there, it started to be able to crash from there because the two things that ends up happening when you end up having an 80-20 rule is that it either falls to the B or it falls down to the 382. In this situation, it done fell down to the 382 and started to have a little bit of retracement from there. So with that being said, the question is, should we be worried in being able to take a position, not take a position, or whatever else may be the case? Anytime that we're a day before high impact news, if you do not take profit early, I think that it's kind of foolish to be able to say that you're going to expect to be able to make profit. So if you are in a position and you were in profit off of that position, take profit off of it now. Obviously, that's not financial advice. That's just a thought process. The reason why I say that is because you want to wait 15. You want to be out of the pairs 15 minutes before, at least, when a high impact news comes out. And then after that, you want to make sure that 15 minutes after, once the news ends up coming out, you can be able to make a solid decision based off of the new direction of the market, not based off of what you thought the direction was going to end up being. So currently right now, we have a built up consolidation that's actually starting to happen at this point. Take away the wick. let's just say we take away the wick. This is your consolidation right here. Top, top, bottom, bottom. There goes our position right there. Type in a Y, yes, if that makes sense with the 80-20 rule. I know we've been talking about it literally since April, but that is a tried and true rule that you can pretty much live by when it comes down to trade. Okay, good to go. So US yen, nothing to be able to do. Let's go US dollar, euro. I'm sorry, euro, United States. Market ended up breaking out of consolidation. Once it broke out of consolidation, we ended up saying that we was interested in being able to see if this market was going to end up going all the way up to 105.40, 105.74, but kind of went back in the same thought process and said, hey, this market has not had a deep enough retracement to be able to make any type of move. No, okay, no. I remember now. Market ended up hitting a D extension last night. It ended up hitting a D extension when we looked at it. I felt like the market was going to end up retracing a little bit. It retraced, popped up to the upside, and then after that started to fall. Currently, right now, nothing to be able to do on this market. I'm gonna end up staying away. Obviously, we got high impact news that's gonna end up happening a little bit later on, but there's nothing to be able to do off of that one. Jess, are you in? Jess, are you in the building? Veggie, are you in the building? I've seen that you end up popping into the cord. Got I catch you a little bit later. Let's go through Bitcoin real quick. Block, how much action did you see today when it came down to Bitcoin? Ooh, excuse me. Hey man, gotta use code names now. Gotta use code names. If you know, you know. Yeah. So market ended up breaking below 18,240, which was the past support. Now it's turned into future resistance. They are all the way down to 15,800 going on to Friday. Since then, the market has basically pushed up to the halfway point, which is at 16,860. Now, with that being said, I am starting to see a little bit more of a I need a code name. Heck, I need a code name. A little pop up on Eric Snowden. Carolyn Lair said. uh, Speaking of that, Block, a tiny inside joke. Um, we end up talking about from a coding perspective. You end up saying, "Hey, this it probably might be one of those ways of being able to uh, do what you want, but not do what you want." If that makes sense. Um, I tried it out. I tried it out on a couple. I tried it on a couple things, and I actually kind of like it. Um, Even though still wouldn't be my initial way or best way of being able to do it. Um, but either way, let's see. I just sent you over what I'm talking about. But this is the first time that I've seen a diamond in a while. Um, and I don't know if y'all are paying attention to it, but there you go, bam. bam, bam, and bam. It's been a while since I've seen the diamond. Now, anytime that the diamond ends up happening, it's a 50-50 chance on whatever direction that the market's going to end up popping up. It's the same thing that ends up happening with any type of triangle, but typically when you end up having a diamond pattern, when it does break out of that position, um, typically it's a more violent move than what happens with a triangle. Um, so going into tonight, going into tomorrow, I would like to be able to see how the market is going to end up moving based off of this. But typically, it's a violent move going to the outside. So the question would be, what is there from a catalyst perspective that will make the market move overall? We've seen that yesterday for FTX, circle as pay support, freezes millions, blah blah blah. I don't see anything yet. Yeah, I don't see anything yet. Okay, so kind of stay away from that. US 30. No, matter of fact, let's go over Nas 100. US 30. I don't think I took a trade. Nas 100. We talked about this in the morning, and I said it. I'm going to say it exactly how I end up saying it. My EAs end up placing in buy pending orders. I got rid of my buy pending orders because I felt like the market was going to fall down a little bit before that news ended up coming out yesterday. But I also ended up saying that if you were going to take a trade, the buy trade should have been at 11,850. The sell trade should have been at 11,725. And then after that, see how the market kind of reacts from there. But the take profit will be at 11,960, which was the daily little pop-up area based off of the high volume node, and basically the top of that overall particular area, or that little hole right here, when it came down to the high volume nodes. So what ended up happening, as soon as I ended up saying, hey, I'm not going to take that trade, I seen that the market ended up starting to pop up towards that area, and I limped in. When I was saying limped in, I ended up going with a very small number, like 1 micro, just to be able to see what would happen. And legitimately, that 1 micro ended up hitting take profit within the hour. And I looked at it and I started kicking myself because there was a big move that we could have took advantage of. But either way, market has broken out. Typically, right now, what we're seeing over the course of the last few months is that over the course of the last 2 months is that we've been getting a lot of counter trend line breaks. So there's a counter trend line break that's actually forming up right now at this particular point. The question is it going to remain to be that way and then continue to keep on moving to the upside? Currently, right now, I don't see it yet. Currently, right now, I wouldn't jump in yet. But I do think that there's going to end up being a counter trend line break that you can be able to take advantage of and kind of go from there. Okay, so kind of stay away from that one, but we'll see how it kind of starts reacting in the morning. US 30 will be the last pair that we talk about today, unless there's a pair that y'all would like to be able to talk about overall. And US 30 is very simple. It fell down to support. There's really nothing to be able to do. It broke out of this overall area, and where it fell matched up with the previous move yesterday. So now we are in a vortex area. And also now we're in a high volume node area, which is creating a vortex trade, which is pretty good. Which means that 33,980 is the new area where the buy trade will end up being the sell trade at this particular point. If you are looking at being able to take one, we end up being below 33,310. 33,310, we end up being an area where you'll look at being able to take a sell. I'm going to go ahead and place this in as a overall idea. so I don't have to forget it going into tomorrow, because I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty good day. I think tomorrow's going to end up being a pretty decent day when it comes down to movement. All right, so um, yeah, total two. Okay. As many code words that we've been putting out today, I should know what code two is. Well, yeah, total two. I should know what that means, but I don't. Um, oh, market cap of all. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so US 30. Let's. I'm gonna place in this pending order, and then after that we get out of here. Pending order for this move. Would be nice if I can find my. Okay, there it is. Total three represents the total market cap of the. Okay, gotcha. Refresh. Okay. It took me forever to remember because I only check once a week. The same thing with me in the weekly chart. To be honest, I didn't got to a point where I just stopped checking the weekly chart because we look at it so dang on much. I mean, because we look at the chart so dang on much. The only time that I look at a weekly chart now at this particular point will only be when, if I haven't seen the market um, at all in a few weeks. So kind of like what happened with Euro United States dollar, which makes me mad because if I would have paid attention to the Euro United States dollar, what, last week at this particular point in time, then I would have noticed that it had its biggest high volume node. That reminds me of what I needed to look for earlier to this morning. Jeez, there it is. I'm gonna create a scanner on. I'm gonna create a scanner based off of um, Trading View that looks up and sends me a message about all of the pairs that have potential high volume nodes, or going into potential low volume nodes. So now instead of trying to guess, we can be able to see based off of the numbers, and then from there, if we're approaching it, then we can be able to take advantage of it based off of that. I got to figure out how to be able to code it that way, but um, I think that would be as good as a scanner as anything. I've done it before. I've done it to be able to find like potential opportunities for trades, but pretty sure there's a way that you can be able to do it on TradingView, or hopefully they updated it to where you can be able to take a look at it in a different manner. Stop loss. So I got 33,980 stop loss on this one. Yes, absolutely. Or not even a no indicator. I just want to know. Well, yeah, that would be nice, but um, I would want to know um, and kind of have like a dashboard where you can look at every pair that a has a low volume node that has a little bit more room to be able to work off of. Kind of like what ended up happening with US 30, right? Because we knew that US 30 was going to go big fish hunting because of the high volume node. If I can be able to figure out ones that have the greater high volume nodes and be able to know what the direction is, then quite frankly, um, that will make my eyes only focus in on those pairs. because typically, anytime that you end up having that, you're going to end up seeing some consolidation that's going to be behind it. 33,770. Big profit. What's going on, Steve? Hope everything's going well. After hours for the day. Oh, that sucks. Were you green before then? Were you green before then? CCI dropped 1K. Yep. Yep. That'll do it. All right, so take entry will be at 33,980. Currently, right now, I'm going to say 33,770 without having a U-turn. The reason why I'm saying 33,77 because that's basically the low of this first peak. Obviously, once we end up seeing the market kind of move, you can kind of be able to make a move off of that. XPIL was up too. Did it fall all the way back down? I'll take a look at XPIL. That's been like the channel chart to be able to take a look at. Let's see. Risk reward factor on this one's the 1:1.38. I don't like that as much. Don't like that as much. So that's literally going to end up being a 1-to-1. To the downside. Okay, the orders placed in. To the downside, I got 33,310. With a stop loss of, let's say 33,510. I know I don't want to risk that much, but geez, beggars can't be choosers on this one. Jeez. With a take profit of 32,980. 32,980. It's a better risk reward factor, but I'm still going with 1%. Orders placed in. We see how everything kind of plays out. But both of those, I want 1% trades. I'm not going for a big move off of both of those. Once again, another 1.38 trade. They're not the greatest risk reward factors, to be honest. I don't know if I just go ahead and just cut them because I don't like that risk reward factor. But I have it there for right now. We'll see what it looks like a little bit later on in the morning. Let's see. XPIL, where we at? So we're looking for a counter trend line break. After having this little bit of a breakout, we got the counter trend line break. It went all the way up to 956. That's a great move. Obviously, what happens with the Dow Jones is going to end up being one of those things to be able to pay attention to. But we're in the midst of being able to see another counter trend line break. So going to 830 wouldn't surprise me if the market pops up, especially if we end up getting decent retail numbers in that sector. So that's pretty much it when it comes down to that. All right, so you like what we end up doing? Please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. Obviously, it ends up helping out when it comes down to and kind of going from there. I don't recommend any of these stocks to anyone. I'm just watching them and gambling. So, quick question: do you actively manage your stop loss on your algos based off of risk reward? Or do you do them based off presets? Great question. Some of them are presets, like the FX Striker that I ended up talking about before was based off of a preset. Now, it's not a preset when it comes down to take profit, which allows it to be able to have a very high risk reward factor, because obviously resistance and support numbers always vary and differ. Um, from the Skywalker perspective, it has a fixed lot area, but typically what happens is that the stop loss goes above the cycle span or goes based off the ATR number. So 2 or 3 times the ATR number when it comes down to that. I don't like personally just saying, hey, I have a fixed stop loss and I have a fixed take profit for every one of those trades, and we'll go from there. Because if you have it like that, then that means that you're really not playing to how the market is being structured at that particular point in time. Maybe the market might be ready to go for it being able to make big explosive movements. Well, your system can be able to detect that it's ready for bigger and better movements. Then why not trade those bigger and better movements? You just have the system basically doing the same thing and just trading in the same manner. Then you're going to end up getting the same results. But when you end up falling or having a little bit of a drawdown, it's going to end up being even tougher to be able to get out. VIP Plus, what's going on? Go selling, bro. Make scanner for RSI less than 32 hour alert above the 70 overbought. I'll make sure I'll write that down as well. But you're looking at that from an overbought and oversold perspective. I think I already have one of those, but I haven't used it in God knows when. Let's see. Make scanner for RSI less than 32 hour alert. Okay. So, 32 hour. All right, so cool. All right, everybody. Hopefully, everybody ends up having a good day. Let's see. My code name is going to be Need a Name. Brian, we got to come up with a better. We got to come up with a better code name than Need a Name. Hey, shoot, unknown is better than Need a Name. Brian, I have something for you. All right, we'll figure that out. Tomorrow's session will end up being a quick session. And I probably might end up doing it as a pre-record session, and kind of go from there. So the 6:30 session, I wouldn't. I'm going to say everybody don't necessarily look at being able to expect that I'm going to stay on there for a long time. I'm probably going to end up doing it right around 5:30. Get my ideas out and then place it on there, and then kind of update it on the cord for a little bit later on. Solely because I owe a person a favor for being able to help me out today. So I probably won't be able to necessarily stay as much as I can. All right. If you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on the boost button. If you, for the people that are on YouTube, please make sure that you end up clicking on that like, share, and subscribe button. Obviously, it helps us out for us being able to build a community. I know we haven't been here that much last week, but we're getting very close to 1K. I would love to be able to see that. And we end up going from there. Everyone, like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. And remember, you got to be able to create your own luck. So you got to be a risk taker. All right, everybody. Take it easy.